Hello and welcome to everyone. And thank you for joining our Review of Findings webinar today. My name is Sawyer Barkas. I am a product marketing specialist with ChiroTouch, and I'm so excited to be here with you all this morning. I want to extend a warm welcome to Coach CJ Mertz, who is an experienced entrepreneur and business development professional who's focused on startup companies in healthcare and customer service sectors. Mertz is the president and CEO of CJ Consulting, a business development company with a core clientele of chiropractors and integrated healthcare wellness providers. I also want to introduce someone very special, Dr. Tracy Inman, with over 30 years in the chiropractic industry and serving every role from front desk to provider. Dr. Tracy Inman can help you determine if ChiroTouch is a good fit for your practice. So, I'll go ahead and pass things over to Coach CJ now.
Fantastic. Sawyer, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. There is a ton of chiropractors with us, probably having lunch all across the country. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I'm going to make this completely worth your while. As you can see on the screen, the title for this amazing training today is Mastering Wealth Through Corrective Healing. I'm going to stay very focused on the report of findings process. I want you to know that my average client, first-year client, increases their revenue by over $100,000 a year, just in the first year of coaching, off two significant changes that they make. One is what we're going to do today. These 5 keys are going to be an overview. And of course, I take each of our clients into a deep dive into each of these 5 keys to make that revenue needle move. The second is what you're going to see inside these 3 revenue factors that cause your practice, your revenue to grow. Number 1, which I'm sure you already knew, was your number of new patient opportunities every week, every month, every year. This is how your revenue increases every single year. Number 2 is how well you recommend your care. That is central to the focus that we're going to have today. And then the third is how well you lead people to follow your recommendations. That'll be for a different day at a different time. That's how I have led over 10,000 chiropractors to create robust wellness practices so that their patients are not dropping out. Their patients are not just simply finishing the first recommendation of care. These are people and their families that continue on years later, receiving all the benefits that chiropractic has on an ongoing basis. I cannot and do not have time for number 1, which is your new patient opportunities. So I recently did a deep dive training with my clients. That is recorded, professionally recorded. That is a $500 training. And because you're here with me today and on behalf of ChiroTouch, I want you to know there's a QR code at the end of this thing. You just leave me your name and your cell phone number, your email. My team tomorrow morning is going to send you the new patient training, which is about, I want you to think about your practice as a well for just a moment. And you put buckets down the well. Those buckets are your internal and external marketing campaigns. I have in that training the 10 buckets that are causing the most record-breaking growth in all of chiropractic. And it's so tactical in the way in which that was done. That's that video. You can get that with the QR code at the end of this training. So today, we will solve factor number 2 in this extraordinary study when you discover the power, doctors, of being the expert in what you do and properly presenting the problem that's caused these health conditions for the patient and the solution reports effectively. This will all make sense through these 5 incredible keys. First of all, I really want to rock your world early in this, and I want to bring up sort of professionals that I spend a lot of time communicating with: neurosurgeons, orthopedists, cardiologists, oncologists. And I want you to get, they all have one thing. They share one thing in common. They have virtually 100% conversion. Listen, these are people that are like a quarter of a mile, half a mile down the street from your practice, The very people that are coming into your practice who are not converting to your best care plans, right down the street, they're converting 100 or nearly 100% of the time to these professionals. So that leads us to the first key of 5. And this is how to dramatically do 2 things. Increase your conversion rate, which is what I'm going to help you with in the next 20 minutes. And number 2, to your best care plan, not to just a relief care plan, to the very best care that you can provide to patients. And this has been time tested now for 3 decades. Over 16,000 chiropractic teams have flourished and thrive and are thriving because of what I'm sharing with you right now. Key number 1, you must become a leading expert through your procedures. So as the phone call is happening and we're scheduling that new patient, as that new patient is coming in and we are welcoming them right at the front desk, I need you to get. And if you walk away with nothing else other than this, I'm good. This was worth my time and yours. I need you to get this. Whatever pain, whatever conditions that patient is in, they do not, capital N, capital O, capital T, they do not see you as an expert. Now, if you went back to that last screen that I showed, the neurologist, the oncologist, the orthopedist, the cardiologist, you should be already on that screen. You and me, we're not. We, as a profession, we haven't done it yet. Myself and some very dear friends of mine are working very hard on that because it's not necessarily that orthopedist or that oncologist or that cardiologist themselves that did this. I need you to get, how soon does a patient know? In your own mind, think about this. You're walking into a neurosurgeon's office, the orthopedist, the cardiologist, the oncologist. How soon does a patient think and believe they're with an expert? And I believe, having surveyed a ton of chiropractors and CAs, they would go, oh, right away. I'm already feeling like I've walked into an expert's office. Now, pharma and the AMA told the world that they're experts. How many remember that in the early 80s, the ad campaign came out saying, ask your doctor, see your doctor. Like it was one of the greatest things that could have ever happened for medical doctors. And pharma did that. Now, of course, obviously they're deeply connected and they benefit richly because the medical doctor is recommending all the drugs that the pharma is creating. But in all of that mix, what they did was they allowed those that have white jackets and those that have MD on the back of their name, those are experts. You are not. So who's telling your new patient that you are an expert? I don't want you to answer that to yourself right now. When was the last time you heard that word come out of your CA's mouth, front desk, tech CA, nurse practitioner, an associate, your own mouth? And I'm going to tell you right now, it can't be just one time and it can't be just from one person. And the moment you get this, you're good. What happens is you just actually got yourself on that list. You put yourself on that list. Do you know what that does for your conversion rate? If I had time, I would tell you that word expert is almost a stamp guarantee that you're going to convert this patient. That's how big that one step is. Your new patient, day one, must be as much about establishing you, doctor, as the expert as it is gathering the information, the scans, the x-rays, and so forth for your report of findings. And I hope you get that. If you've completed your day one and you've gathered all the necessary information, but the patient doesn't see you any differently, doctor, than when they walked into your office, I promise you, your report of findings is going to suffer. It's now roulette as to if they're going to convert and what they're going to convert to. So I hope there's already kind of a skull-crushing moment for you. Yes, we're already seeing thumbs up. We're seeing emojis of fire. Yes. I mean, and of course, these might be actually our docs that are 35 years old and younger who happen to have that emoji. So those of you that are more seasoned, you can play too. Put a thumbs up. If that hit home for you, go ahead and let me know. So you being seen as an expert prior to you beginning your report of findings gives you the power and authority to successfully recommend care plans like nothing else, like never before. So I have been witnessing this, particularly the last 10 years, carefully tracking those that are saying it and have positioned themselves as experts, and then literally seeing those that do not and have not, and matching the conversion rates. I need you to understand that you being expert drives your conversion rate like nothing else can. So Sawyer was talking about a survey. I want to read the survey to you, and I want you to participate right now. So the question, you're just going to choose A, B, C, or D. How do you communicate your report of findings with your patient? Of course, this is totally anonymous, right? So no one's going to connect your name or anything to it. I just want you to get a sense of where are we as a profession, because there's a ton of chiros on this line right now, and where are you in that process? A, do you do your report of findings like on the same day? Like day one, I kind of wrap it up and I tell them what I think and I give them my recommendation. It's more casual and I do it in a more personal way. B, I do it actually on the second visit. So it's not on the first visit when I'm doing consult and exam and scan and x-ray. I do it on the second visit and I recommend what I think the patient wants. So I really kind of tailor it to what I think they want. That's B. That's more common in the way you do your report. C is, I do it on the second or third visit. You might have your split reports, but it's definitely still not on day one. And you do it on day 2 or day 3. And you're giving your patient choices. So relief care, corrective care, now they have options, and that's your majority go-to in the way you do your reports. And the final one, D, is that you're doing it not on day 1, it's day 2 and or day 3, and you're giving an expert plan and recommendation of what the patient needs, and there are no choices. That's how you deliver it. Go ahead and put your score in there right now. Which one most likely matches sort of how you do your reports, the majority of your reports now. I'm going to pass this over to Sawyer, because we're going to be able to put back up on the screen what we actually did, what we tabulated together. Sawyer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it looks like about 38% of the folks on today say that within the second or third visit, as the expert with a plan the patient needs. We have about 25% of people who say that on the first visit, they do it in a more casual and personal way. We have 21% here who say, this happens on the second visit and they recommend what the patient wants. And about 17% say on the second or third visit and give my patient choices for care.
Wow. Thank you for that, Sawyer. And for nothing else, you got a chance to see where your brothers and sisters are, right? And I'm not going to even say that there's a right or wrong or a good or bad. I'm not suggesting that at all. What I'm saying to you, listen carefully, the most successful chiropractors, because I train like 80% of them in the field now, are those that do D. So you should be making sure you schedule a practice evaluation with me, which you could do on that QR code. We'll spend 20 minutes together, you and I privately. Let's talk about what the difference is between how and why you're doing it the way you're doing it, what I'm going to recommend, how do you get there, and what is the incredible benefit to you, to your practice, and to your patient. There's not small differences on this screen. These are light year differences that are on the screen. So thank you for participating in that survey. So that leads us then to the second of 5 keys today, wealth through healing key number 2. So the first one, remember, you're the expert. Okay. Number 2, you must definitely, irreversibly, irrevocably, immutably claim the cause of the patient's health problem. Do you know, as I survey a ton of chiropractors, that's what I do every day, every week, every month, and I do it all year long, is does the words, the root cause of your healthcare problem, does that come out of the chiropractor's mouth? And do you know today that's happening less than 20% of the time? So we're going to get there in just a minute. I just need you to know, if that's not something that is typically being said, then we're going to change that right now. Now, something that is being said that we need to wipe out are what you and I call small words, the enemy, which steals away certainty from your patient. Listen carefully. This certainty meter of your patient who you're wanting to convert, their certainty is dropping. And why is that? You can't even imagine during your report that their certainty would be dropping. How is that possible? It happens more, it's epidemic. I'm telling you, this is happening more often than you could imagine. The enemy, which steals away certainty from your patients, is found in small words. And so you might say, on day one, it could also be at the report of findings. So Mrs. Jones, what I'm noticing here is it's sort of, your shoulder's just a little, this is just a bit off. It's somewhat, take a look, maybe a screenshot, and ask yourself, how often are you or someone on your team, an associate, a tech CA, using those words? I will tell you right now, from exhaustive research, those destroy strong conversion. And so there's a way for us to get through this. See, what I need you to get today, and what I had to get, I was making these same mistakes. I was stuck at 100 patient visits a week. I wanted to save the world, and I couldn't get out of my own way. As I started to develop these processes, and I really understood from really great mentoring that I got early on, my practice in 18 months went from being absolutely stuck at 100 patient visits a week to climbing over 1,200 patient visits a week. In the same office, in the same town where I sucked, suddenly I didn't. So I need you to know, if I can do this, you can do this. And I'm not suggesting that your goal is 1,200. My goal wasn't 1,200. I just literally got out of the way and let chiropractic do what she was going to do. And she was ready to do a mighty thing. But on your screen, what you see there is what we measure, would you agree, is small. I happen to be trained in chiropractic biophysics from Dr. Don Harrison. And so when you start thinking about upper cervical, you're looking at 1/4 of a degree of an atlas out of alignment is a massive issue. You know, 1/2 a degree, 1 degree, that's massive. Those are small measurements, but what it causes inside the dysfunction, the health issues inside your patients, which you and I already know, we see it every day, is a tsunami of health crisis. So we can't use small words, even though what we measure is small. That's why in the Accelerate, which is my coaching program, international coaching system, we communicate words which carry the trueness, the bigness, the power, the urgency that chiropractic deserves. I'm going to show 3 or 4 short clips today for you, literally with patients. In this very next short clip, here's what I want you to get. I already showed this patient a healthy spine and a subluxated spine. We use that with green lines and red lines. Green is healthy, right? Red is subluxated. I'm going to tell you one other mistake, which is an epidemic in chiropractic, is we're trying to tell patients what the problem is. You should actually be training your patients, leading your patients through the proper report of findings for them to tell you they're subluxated. You don't tell them, they tell you. Imagine people being able to say, that's it, isn't it? I've got that. Oh my gosh, that's it. What do you think that does for your patient conversion? See, these are not small keys. These are career shifting keys. And I'm only on the second one. Watch what happens as I put up an x-ray, and I'm not going to tell the patient what they have. I'm going to leave a space for them to tell me.
Kate, first of all, before we begin, what you're about to see might be somewhat upsetting to you. Mm-hmm. This is a picture of the side view of your neck.
Wow.
What do you see?
I've got it, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Really forward.
That's right. You can see that the spine is considerably off of that green arc of life. And a few minutes ago, what we were referring to is that means that there's a lot of pressure in the nerves along your spinal cord.
So as we recognize that a patient is being led to conversion, right? You are leading a patient to make the best health decision in their life. So you need to tell them the root cause. And what you're going to see here, even more further evidence, if the second key is to say the cause of a patient's health problem, the nerve interference, that nerve pressure that comes from subluxation causing all kinds of potential dysfunction in the body. Well, key 3, which is where we're at now, Wealth Through Healing key 3, is to show the cause with clear, concise visual props. My friends, I need you to get, We are in what's called a double visual or hypervisual society. We're in that era now. Do you know how often, it's not just 10-year-olds and 15-year-olds, how often we may be in 2 or 3 screens? We've got our phone, we've got maybe an iPad or a laptop, a desktop, and we're actually looking at a flat screen, a big flat screen at the same time. We don't even think twice about it. That's just how we roll in our car, at our house, at work. Why am I saying that? You need to understand there's 3 ways, and only 3 ways, that patients learn, they comprehend, and they decide. And that's based on 3 learning modalities: audio, visual, and kinesthetic. So you're going to be seeing these coming up where your props in the report of findings are as important or more important than what you're saying. And I'm giving you a real, kind of I'm giving you an audit right now, right? And I love you because you and I are brothers and you're my sister. You need to hear what I'm saying. If you're talking the entire report and you're not really using props in any significant way, your conversion rates are being held back dramatically. And if you knew that and you made that change early, what you'd see on the back end of that is incredible. So when it comes to postural findings, which I know all of you do, scans, x-rays, range of motion, digital palpation, leg check, it either is or it isn't. It's yes or no. I'm going back. I'm doubling down on, it's not a little bit, that shoulder's not somewhat, your head isn't just a little forward. No. It either is or it isn't, yes or no. Clean up your language and watch what happens to your conversion. So you can't just say the report. You can't just talk it out. You have to show your report. Well, that could be from my poster series and probably other great posters that you have. This one says the power is in the panel. As you can see, there's a circuit breaker over the top of the spine. That imagery is absolutely incredible. There's a dimmer switch, which you'll see here in just a minute. So light can actually go up or down. Some of you are actually using EMG scans. What I love about this is you can show what a healthy spine looks like just by the color code, and then you can show what a very unhealthy subluxated spine is. You need to understand people respond to before and afters more than you could ever imagine. Almost all ads and those that get paid the most, the multi-million dollar advertising geniuses, they use before and after. Think about the toothpaste that comes out. Somebody's got yellow teeth, they're kind of embarrassed to even smile. Then they brush their teeth with this and bam, they've got the whitest smile, right? Before and after. Think about people that have terrible acne, right? Then somebody actually comes up with this ointment. They put the ointment on. They go from terrible skin to beautiful skin. I could go on and on about before and after, before and after. Chiropractic rocks the world with before and after. And yet only 17% of our profession uses that in a report of findings or ever. I hope, again, I am just opening your eyes like never before. So EMG, before and after, and of course, before and after x-rays. Notice there's green lines and red lines. So if I teach somebody green is good, that's where the spine should be. Red lines, that's where you are. That's subluxation. That's the nerve interference. That means your brain isn't communicating to your body the way it could and should. That's what's causing the pain. That's what's causing the health conditions and so forth. So we've got to show it. We've got to show it. So let me actually show you this short clip right now and be listening to and watching these props being used.
So in order to understand what kind of pressure the spine puts on the nerves, I want everyone to see Kate, Tony, Jordan, can you see the normal holes that the nerves come out of here in the spine? Mm-hmm. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Kate put her finger just in this hole right here. And then I'm gonna actually take the vertebra and put it out of alignment. Oh. Right. You can feel that pressure in there. Well, now, interestingly enough, Professor Chung Ha Soo from the University of Colorado showed that the pressure of just one weight of a dime on the nerve can shut the nerve down as much as 60%. Wow. So you can imagine how that would affect our functioning within our body. So if we have that, our immune systems aren't working properly. Our function of our body may be off as much as 40 or 60%, and we don't even know it. That's why symptoms aren't something that we track carefully. You'll hear in this office often, it's not how you're feeling that matters, it's how you're healing that matters. So a series of adjustments is the only known thing that can correct subluxation. Imagine looking here at this light, that this is that low level of function that we're talking about right now as a result of subluxation. Over a series of adjustments, life starts to come back in your body, in your immune system, not only to fight bacteria, but to bring optimum functioning back into your body. And as you continue to adjust over a time, you'll see maximum results. And that's the kind of energy that you want, yes? That takes time and it takes commitment.
So what you're seeing, again, is showing other patients pictures before they see theirs is a game changer, right? Showing other patients. Now, of course, their names are not in it, right, for HIPAA reasons, but you're showing before and after. And before you do that, before showing them their results, you're showing what's healthy and what's subluxated. Do you know that takes like a minute? And the change in that report is dramatic. So the words nerve pressure and deterioration and subluxation together produces the value for care and the urgency to start it now. Do you know there's such an interesting blend when we think about chiropractors, and they're just the most amazing people I ever meet. Chiropractors, for the most part, they're glass half full thinkers. They are people that are forward thinkers, positive thinkers, which is wonderful, right? Absolutely wonderful. And what I have seen as a coach is how difficult it is and uncomfortable it is for chiropractors to talk about things that are serious, to talk about things that are challenging, to talk about things that are a concern. Because really, when you think about it, I just want to put my hands on you. I just want to adjust you. I want to get that power flowing and things are going to get better, right? Like that's where most chiropractors live and that's how they speak. But what you need to understand neurolinguistically, Tony Robbins and even before Tony, Bandler and Grenler, the founders of NLP, shared this with the world. There's two types of people. Essentially about half of the population moves away from things that are painful. So when they see something that's going to be really painful, they actually take a decision, take an action. What is that? Your care plan. The other half are people that move toward pleasure. So they're hopeful. They're looking about a story that tells them how things will be much better for them in the future. And yes, I'm going to take action to do that. What is that? Your care plan. See, but if you're only talking in the positive, you understand you're only communicating with half the population. So in this next clip, what I want you to really get is the brilliance of this Accelerate system and why so many hundreds of practices are flourishing because they're doing both, right? Moving people away from pain and moving them toward pleasure so they can receive the chiropractic care and any other therapies that come along with that. And they're blessed, and you are blessed, and chiropractic continues to grow. Listen carefully to this.
Here's a picture of a healthy curve as seen from the side. You can see that all these vertebrae follow that line, the arc of life, can't you? Yep. See, what that means is that there's no nerve pressure here. That means that these vertebrae are properly positioned, so there's little to no deterioration that's happening in this film. That's the way we want it to be. Okay. Well, now take a look at this. Wow. Exactly. You can see that all these vertebrae are nowhere near this arc of life. And that means there's a lot of nerve pressure here. That means that these vertebrae are now rapidly deteriorating. This is subluxation. In this picture, you can see this is a picture of a pelvis and the lower spine as seen from the back. Can you see the green lines that show that the pelvis is level and that the spine is vertical to gravity? Yes. Right. Again, what that means is there's no nerve pressure here and that the spine is free from deterioration. There's little to no decay happening in this picture. Wow. Mm-hmm. Now look at that. Wow. You can just see the difference. Can you see just how much tilt there is in the pelvis? And of course, as this spine goes, you can imagine it's nowhere near this vertical line. Wow. What does that mean? Lots of nerve pressure. That means the body and brain can't communicate with themselves. That leaves us open for lots of dysfunction. And of course, this spine is rapidly deteriorating.
So with this, I just need you to get the summary then that you should have right now. That these are the first three keys. Be the expert. You are not until you say you are. Number two, say the cause, the root cause of your health problem. We've gone away from that for whatever reason, but the highest conversion rates in all of chiropractic are on number one and number two. And then finally, use your props. We're in a highly visual society, audio, visual, and kinesthetic. And you saw me using the spine to bring out that kinesthetic experience. People are making decisions to convert literally as you're using those props. So now that brings us to the fourth of 5 Wealth Through Healing keys. How you doing? How you doing? I'm hoping that you're enjoying your lunch. And also, yeah, and of course, the emojis have been fantastic. I appreciate that. I'm riding off your emojis. There's been fire. There's a heart of love. So many of you reaching out. I love that, right? Because this is what we need as a profession. We need to kind of come together and realize what is the best practices. What are the best, most successful, most profitable practices in the country, in the world? What are they doing? They're doing these 5 keys, and they're doing them at black belt level. So here at Wealth Through Healing key number 4, the bigger your care plan recommendation, the more important it is to lead your patient to say yes 7 times. Now, there's 3 types of reporting that you do, that we do. The first is called unilateral communicating. Unilateral means the patient really isn't talking at all. You walk into the report room, you give your report of findings. It's you talking. That's unilateral. Those statistically have the lower conversion rates. The second is what's called conversational. That means you're really not scripted. It probably changes from one patient to another, and the patient's given chances to kind of go on longer than they should, and reports tend to run over. You know what I'm saying here? If you're conversational, those also have a lower rate of conversion. But the third type is called influential. The first is unilateral. The second is conversational. The third is influential. Influential is using the Socratic method, meaning you're actually leading people to give you what we call micro agreements. What's a micro agreement? They're saying yes. And they said yes again. And then they nodded their head and they said yes again. And you'll see here in just a minute how that goes. Nothing is more important to the success of your report of findings than leading patients to say yes 7 times before you say, so based on this, I'm recommending this. Here's the fee for my care. How does that sound to you? See, if you don't have a bank account of 7 yeses before that, you're leaving that last yes to be way too big, which is why conversions are low. But when you have multiple yeses along the way, the last one, which is, so this is what I'm recommending. Here's the fee. Mrs. Jones, how does that sound to you? It's just yes. Yeah, I've been right there. Yes, that's that. Yes. I can't begin to tell you how massive this key is. So I've given this to you. I'm going to have you screenshot this. And this isn't an exhaustive list. This is 8. There could be more, but notice every one of these has the same answer. Mrs. Jones, do you see this here? Yes, yes. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Do you understand the seriousness, the importance of this? Yep, yeah, I do. Are you with me? Yes. Is this something you want to get corrected? Do you see now why this might take some time to fix? Yep. Are we in agreement on how long this problem has been there? Are you able to make correcting this problem a priority? So I've made it super easy for you. This is what you put into your report. This is the Socratic part that you're literally causing and leading people to say yes. So talk less, ask more. Clients of mine that are now recommending anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 care plans are doing this in less than 10-minute report of findings with an 80% conversion rate. Like when you start to understand what I'm saying, you want to dive into this material. You want to be training with me on a regular basis to get it down and watch what happens to your life, what happens to your patients, what happens to your conversion rate, to your business. It is game changer. So Wealth Through Key, we're at the last one, and we're going to talk about money right now. So through your close, always follow time, frequency, and then money. We never, ever talk about money until we have a yes on time and a yes on frequency. Say their care plan fee, one price, and never use the words thousands, hundreds, or dollars. We'll see that here in just a moment. What I want you to get right now in this short last clip is my using time and frequency And you'll notice that I don't do the 3 times a week for 4 weeks and 2 times a week for that's to understand that's a feature. That's not a benefit. People buy benefits. What you're going to notice is I'm putting frequency inside a 12-month plan and inside 90-day increments of that 12-month plan. I'm getting yes to time, yes to frequency, and then let's see what happens to the money. Listen carefully.
Based on the age that you walked into this office with and your current level of health, do you remember the video, the instructional video that we saw a few days ago? It talked about corrective times being anywhere from 6 months to 5 years. Do you remember that? Well, I'm recommending a minimum of 12 months in that time frame for each of you. So before I can tell you how this program works, I need to first find out whether or not over this next 12 months, your health is enough of a priority and this problem, subluxation, to spend the next 12 months and making it a committed part of your schedule to do this program and solve this problem over the next 12 months. Jordan?
Yes.
Yes? Tony?
Is it possible that we can maybe try it just for a couple months?
Well, certainly some chiropractic care is better than none at all, right, Tony?
Sure.
But I would say to you that in 2 months of care, what I know we could do is some improvement. But what I know it's impossible is correction. And what I know about that is that if it's not corrected, chances are it will get worse sometime in the future.
Okay.
And the fact that I think we've caught it in time is why I'm recommending not only 12 months, but to correct it now.
Right.
Is that something that you can commit to?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yes.
Great. Great. Well, congratulations. And so that's what it takes is the commitment of time to make this happen in the first place. So let's talk about then the features and benefits of the program. First of all, I want you to know there's a science to the correction of vertebral subluxation. So it really doesn't matter whether you're tall or short, whether you're fat or thin, male or female, even young or old. There's a protocol, if you will, for the correction of subluxation. That's why for each of you, you'll begin in this office daily to develop a pattern of care. And it's so important because remember, your body corrects to rhythm. It is incredibly, I'll say that a few different times, your body does correct to rhythm. By establishing that pattern of care, we can then move to what's called the phase of intensive care. And in phase of intensive care, I'll be seeing you 3 adjustments per week. Now, the reason why that happens is that research shows that the spine wants to go back to its old bad position, its old bad behavior, if you will, about every 24 to 48 hours. So we want to be seeing you 3 times a week to make sure we're on track for that correction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Very good. Now, it's more than that, though. It's not just any 3 times a week. It's an exact time and exact days because your body corrects to what? Rhythm. That's exactly right. And so we're going to set you up not only 3 times a week, but very specific days and times. And that is also a huge part of the healing is the times that you're getting adjusted. Now, that'll go on for about 90 days. And afterwards, 90 days, we're going to do a post x-ray to see how your body's progressing and how your spine and subluxations are reducing. In addition, every 12 visits, you're going to get a reevaluation. We're going to put you back on those scales. We're going to check your posture. We're going to check your range of motion. We're going to check your leg lengths and other vital nerve tests to see how your body is improving. Now, most of you will be feeling fantastic in the first 2 to 3 weeks of chiropractic care. That has been our experience. Notice there's a huge difference between how you're feeling and how you're healing. Now, I will tell you that our purpose is to make sure that you're healing at 100%. So while I hope fantastic feeling is going on in the first 2 to 3 weeks, do not lose sight of the fact that it takes months and sometimes years to correct subluxation. Say yes if you've got that.
Yes.
All right, good. So we'll stay the course, yes? Very good. Having said that, after the 90 days, and we'll continue to reevaluate, you will average somewhere between 2 a week and 1 a week for the rest of the year based on how your body tells us those subluxations are reducing.
So what you just heard then is the time and the frequency. I'm going to bring in Dr. Tracy now. As you heard, 30 years of experience in chiropractic. She is a software consultant for ChiroTouch. And what I really want you to hear for just a couple minutes is how ChiroTouch can effectively and efficiently help you implement not only the care plans, including the 12-month care plans that I'm recommending, but the financial transactions as well. Dr. Tracy?
Thank you so much, Coach CJ.
Yes.
So I will dive in here. So I'm sharing my screen And I'll just take a couple of minutes to show you how you can schedule and track those care plans that you, the expert, have recommended and collect those payments efficiently. So this is ChiroTouch Cloud. This is completely web-based. So it offers you that ease of accessibility from any device anywhere in the world. So I'm currently in the calendar tab, but let's switch over to the patient flow tab. This is a favorite with the front desk. So think of this as a bird's eye view for the flow of the office. So you have all of the patients to the left on the calendar. Then in the center, you have who is actually here and checked in. And to the right, you have who has checked out. So let's take patient Aria here. Let's say she just received her life-changing chiropractic adjustment and she is going to check out. So all I have to do at the front desk is drag over to the checkout column, where I see this great pop-up screen with all of the pertinent information that I need to know at the front desk. So the first item is the patient balance. So it looks like she owes $425. So I could just go ahead and take that payment right away. But let's also look at the summary. So this is an example of one of our cash packages. So she has purchased 12 visits for $600. She has used 8 and has 4 remaining. So that's just one example. You can customize the different care plans and packages within ChiroTouch. Now, before I go into the actual collections of the payment, let's go over the treatment plan. So like Coach CJ mentioned, you, the expert, are going to give your recommendations. So how many times a week in the beginning, and then maybe they move into the intensive phase, and then just the different phases of care. So this is a great way for the front desk to track how many appointments need to be scheduled, and it's calculating how many they've completed and how many have been scheduled versus how many need to be scheduled. So if I needed to add a quick appointment, then I just click here, add appointment, and you can run multiple locations within one cloud account. So you could choose that, and then the appointment, the customization of the appointment types, and then you could actually schedule a recurring series. So I could schedule my daily appointments that I recommended, or perhaps Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the next 4 weeks. So super easy and quick to schedule an appointment. Now let's go a little bit further into collections. So here at ChiroTouch, we have a solution for collecting payments called CT Payments. And that is our integrated credit card processing system. So you really have multiple options. So you can add different packages and plans, and then you could collect the payment once. Maybe they prepay, like CJ recommended, or you could schedule recurring payments, or you could schedule a payment plan. So if you recommended a plan for $6,000, but they want to break it up into 3 payments, then you can absolutely do that. It's on auto debit, runs itself, and then now the front desk doesn't have to chase after the patients with payments due. So with that, I will pass it back to you, Coach CJ.
Fantastic, Tracy. Thank you so much. And really what I'm just hoping everybody sees there is that, being able to see your practice growing, 200, 300, 400 patient visits a week, just in a 4-day week, easy. When you have the right procedures and the right communication, the right props and the right technology, things change quickly. So let's get further into that dialogue, right, of the money, because this is a very big problem. I want you to take this back to, for example, your office manager, maybe a patient care coordinator, an associate, certainly yourself. Mrs. Jones, your 12-month corrective care plan, which they've already said yes to the timing and the frequency, and that's including the services, right? It might be adjustment only. You might have adjustments and therapies, rehab, decompression, whatever's in the plan, right? It's $37.50. Now, notice that we also have the document in front of the patient, again, a prop. So when you're saying the words, they see the numbers right there on your care plan document. Notice the words thousands, hundreds, and dollars are not there. So make sure you make a note of this. When you're talking to the patient about what they're going to pay, what you're going to charge them, use the smallest words possible. That means eliminate thousands, hundreds, and dollars. So Mrs. Jones, your 12-month corrective care plan, including these services, is $37.50, and they are actually seeing that. I recommend my patients take care of it up front, as Dr. Tracy was just sharing, and provide an additional 15% savings. Stop. Notice the savings is now something that's going to truly benefit them. Well, notice there, right after the 15% savings, that's a $563 savings. I want to use thousands, hundreds of dollars out loud. I want to make what they're investing small and what they're saving big. And you control that by what comes out of your mouth. Isn't that amazing? So additional 15% savings of $563. That leaves your one-time health investment of just $31.87. Once again, that's what we're going to have them cut a check for right here. They're going to put a credit card down for $31.87. How does that sound to you? Work through that as we get to our finish right now. Ask yourself, does that sound like that in your practice? How often might we be making mistakes? Because right here at the end is where we'll lose a conversion because of this seemingly small mistake. Well, what if they don't prepay? Mrs. Jones, I completely understand, which is why we have auto debit of, for example, 10 equal monthly installments of just $255. How does that sound to you? We're going to charge them $255. So we do not say $255, $255. How does that sound to you? See, knowing and mastering these 5 key steps is how you achieve total corrective healing and wealth, increasing revenue month after month in your practice every single time that you perform a report of findings. So I want to make sure that I put up that QR code that I promised you at the beginning. This is how you can actually schedule time with me, and it's just private time with me. I have nothing to sell you. I want to make sure that I hear what the challenges are going on in your report, in your practice, and give you my best recommendations. I love doing that. Be one of the first to do that so that you fit into my schedule. Make sure you leave your cell number and your name and email. My team's going to also send you that special double bonus, which is the new patient training. Those 10 buckets I was talking about. How do you drive more new patients into your practice? Love to have that for you. So go ahead and just take a screenshot of that right now, and I'll give you just another few seconds to do that. I'm so grateful that we've had this time that I've connected with you. I'm hoping you're walking away also with some really keen senses of 1 or 2 or maybe even more changes, upgrades, maybe revolutionizing your report process. So that's how you get a hold of me, and then how you actually get that demo where those of you that are actually, maybe you're already in ChiroTouch, but you're in the server. Man, I'm telling you right now, get a demo of what the cloud does. Nuts, absolutely nuts what the upgrade is. And you know what? As a way of thanking you, there's a $50 gift certificate from ChiroTouch just by taking that 15-minute demo. It's 15 minutes worth your while. You may not even be in ChiroTouch right now, but you're thinking, gosh, I really need to make a shift. I'm thinking about making a shift with my software. Just go ahead and screenshot that. Get in touch with the ChiroTouch people. They're absolutely fantastic. Take a short demo, and you can compare your current software with theirs to be able to make the best decision for yourselves. I love and appreciate you. I look forward to being with you again soon. My next seminar is May 31 in Austin, Texas. So you can learn more about that by just through that QR code. Love to see you there. Until next time, and as always, practice with passion. Have an amazing day, and God bless you.